So I read it a long time ago because my mom loves Stephen King, but rereading The Outsider, it's boring
Some parts, yeah.
until it's not. And then the series I felt like was the same.
Yeah.
Like, okay, and then whoa, and then
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. There was a lot of not even build, it was just more like a lot of background and because it's
Mm-hmm.
not really I mean, yes, it is about a supernatural character, but it's not really a horror book. It's more, I would say, like suspense,
Yeah,
um, a mystery book type thing.
agreed.
Yeah.
It's like 90% personal perspective, 10% creepy dude who kills kids.
Hmm.
And what's funny is, and kind of the reason I'm glad we decided to do this, because we read the book and then watched the series. I kind of got this weird vibe of like Stephen King. And I was like, this is a common theme with him, where there's a really creepy dude who preys on children. And I'm like, maybe SK needs to get off of the pedophile ring of like,
Well, okay, think of it this way. I mean, a lot of people say that too. They're like, "Oh, why is he obsessed with children getting raped? Why just like in it, if you
yeah.
read the book, like all the boys have sex with what's her
And it's,
face?"
but it's always, someone's always getting, I don't know if we're allowed to say it, but someone's always getting sodomized too. Like,
Oh, that too. But here's the thing that think about it. What's worse than
I
rape
know.
of a child? You know what I mean? Like
I
that's
know.
so hard and that will like sock you in the face, when you
Yeah.
learn about that. Not that rape of a woman or rape of a man isn't bad,
No.
but rape of an innocent child like is even worse, I think. So that's probably
Yep.
why he uses that theme so much because it really gets
I
to the gut of it.
know. I know, but like, I guess for me, the so in the beginning of the story, what sparks the story is this young boy is killed like viciously, like
Yeah,
he's just
horribly.
ripped apart, and he is sodomized by a stick.
Yeah,
And
by a
it's
tree
like,
branch.
but here's the thing. I did not think that that was necessary. The only reason I think it was in there was because that is what sparked the like community outrage. It
Yeah.
was like, okay, he died. He was killed. But once they found out how he was abused,
Yeah.
it was mob mentality. And I get that, but I guess I'm at the age where I'm like, I personally just was like, I didn't think that was necessary. The kid being ripped apart was already like gruesome enough. Maybe he was just like adding insult to injury, and now we're getting everybody else in the community in it. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, you can also think of it like it's such a sharp like veer off from what a normal human usually does to somebody
That's
that they
true.
victimize. It's
That's
something
true.
so out of this world because it is literally somebody out of this world.
Yeah.
So it adds more of a like unbelievable factor to it. And that's like sort of the whole
Hmm.
point of this book is that you are supposed to believe that this is supernatural, but how do you believe that this is supernatural? How do you even go, oh, it's not this crazy guy, Terry, like he's actually just a murderer? No, it's some El Cuco or whatever he's called, El Cuco,
Right. Right.
from friggin' Mexico, outer space, whatever. Like it has to be so out there so that you can actually believe that it is supernatural. Because what human would do that to another human? Which,
I
of course, there are humans that do that, but,
Yeah, I guess you're right. And thinking of it like in terms of, I've already read the book and watched the series. So trying to think of when I read it the first time, I
hmm,
just still remember such shock of
yeah.
how he described what happened to the child. I guess in my mind I was like, you didn't have to do all that. But then now listening to what you're saying and thinking about it, realistically, that's probably the reason that they reined Terry in. And they were so adamant that it
Hmm.
was Terry who did it. And they were so like angered by it.
Hmm.
And then the detective that was in on it and all the things that we're standing back going, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, This is pitchforks and torches type of
Yeah,
stuff.
like old school.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because in such a small town, not that murder's prevalent, obviously, but it was
No.
the edge they needed, and they wanted to get a guy so bad for this crime
Yeah.
that they dehumanized Terry. He was no longer a good father, a good friend, a good baseball coach. Someone who had been in the community his whole life was dehumanized overnight because
Mm.
somebody thought it was him. And that's what I mean about the book in the series is so much more about interpersonal relationships versus this crazy cuckoo outsider
Yeah.
guy.
I mean,
He
I
was
was
like the mirror for the community.
exactly. That's the whole point of the book is it's more about like how do we as people react to what we see, what information that we're given. The fact that there was all this information that pointed to Terry, but there was also all this information that didn't point to him.
Right.
Nobody paid attention to any of that.
Yeah.
Everybody just said, we're going to get him. So what does that say about us as a society? Also, what does it say about us as a society that Stephen King has to write such a graphic, horrific murder in order for us to go, whoa? Because if he would have just been like, oh, he was raped and murdered, we'd have been like, it's like it's horrible, but that's how desensitized that we are to these
Dang.
horrible
You're
things.
right. You're right. And I guess I didn't think of it that way because I, as a mom, am not. I feel like I'm less desensitized than other people
Mm,
because I already know that there's disgusting people and like
yeah.
things that have happened. Like we've had family and friends who have gone through horrific things.
Mm,
So I guess in my mind, I'm like, you don't need to write about it. But maybe you're right. You're kind of bringing me to the other side of like, maybe I did need to be absolutely shocked and angered by the detail that Stephen King would write in the
yeah.
book. And
Because
maybe
that's the reality of it.
right.
It's not just, oh, raped and murdered. No, it's this little boy was horrified. He was scared. His pants were ripped
Horrible.
down. Like this is what happened.
Yeah.
And this is what happens in society. And yet we just ignore it and we just look at the face value of things and we just go with it. We don't actually
Yeah.
look into what actually happened. We just gloss over the
Yeah.
gritty details and opinions are formed off of nothing.
Yes, and that's like the biggest theme of this whole book is
Yeah.
how far is a community willing to go?
Hmm.
Um, A, to catch a killer, but B, to dehumanize someone. So kind of the way it works is Terry, this main guy, he is like on a pedestal in a
Hmm.
way
Yeah.
because he's a good guy. He's an amazing guy. He's a
Yeah.
great community leader. He's done
Hmm.
softball and baseball for years. He's a coach for all these kids. You would think that we would hesitate as a community because we'd be like, hold the phone. Look at all the, wait, you're talking about Terry. No
Yeah.
one hesitated.
Mm-mm.
Not a single person. They were ready. They were waiting.
Hmm.
And this is what I thought later, waiting to tear him down off of that
Yeah.
pedestal, especially the detective, which is disgusting because we find out later that the detective, his son and Terry had a good relationship when he was the coach. And he
Hmm.
just completely ignored it. Completely was like, yeah, I don't care if you were his greatest coach and you were like the best to him. I want you to be the killer, so you're going to be the killer.
Yeah.
And then all these how do you say it?
Irreparable.
Irreparable pieces of evidence that could not be disputed. They could
Yeah.
not, like 100% were there, physical detail that they were 100% willing to not even look at
Mm-mm.
was disgusting,
Yeah. It's like,
like
dude, what about
abhorrent.
actual justice for this guy? Like, how do you dispute video evidence of Terry being an hour and a half away when this little boy was murdered? And it's like, oh no, but we have fingerprints. Okay, reasonable doubt, man.
Okay.
Like,
But you have fingerprints at the place that he was an hour and a half away. You have a
exactly.
video of him.
Yeah.
You have a video of him on live TV
Yeah.
being an hour and a half away. And it's like, how could any judge in their right mind even put him in jail once that evidence was handed in? Like, yeah, we have him at two places at once.
More than likely, he probably, this is my thought, is that he wouldn't have been convicted. It probably would have been like he would have been exonerated, not even exonerated, but acquitted.
Yeah.
Oh, but his reputation's ruined forever. It doesn't matter what the evidence was, it's ruined forever. And the thing I love about, when was this copyrighted? Hold on.
Are you looking at the book right now?
Yeah, I'm literally.
Yeah.
But
I
where's
love
that?
it. I love it.
But yeah, so like this was written in 2019. It was copyright 2019.
2018, I think.
2018,
Right
right?
before COVID. I
Yeah.
just remember it coming out, and then I just remember reading it like as soon as we went into lockdown.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't read
Yeah.
it until literally the show came out. I didn't read it until after I seen the show.
Oh.
I knew
See,
of it, but I was like, meh.
that's why I was so excited when the series came out and I mentioned it to you because
Oh,
I was like, oh, I actually read this one because you're more of a Stephen King fan, I think, than I am. I think you've probably read more or you've read more
maybe.
times than me. And like I said, I've read it twice, but I read it a long time ago. It like doesn't
Mm.
count. And then I read I think two other books of his, but this one was the one that once I saw it was a series, I was like, oh, we have to do side by side because I it's
Yeah.
recent, which is really nice for us because usually we love digging into the past, but this is a recent book and
But it is.
series.
And the thing that I love about Stephen King is that even though it is relatively recent, um, all of his books, no matter when they're written, just sort of the message and the thoughts behind them, like transcend time. Like
True.
it will like cover anything that's happening in that time, or just like the thought of society. Whether he wrote it in the 80s, it still kind of like comes together in like even the 2020s, and it's like it's. I love him. He's just
That's
so like
true.
insightful.
And that's why we always say he's not a book writer, he's a novelist. I mean, his his writings are very thick, they're very dense, they're very detailed. They're very conscious of I I think he writes without hesitancy, but he also is very thoughtful. He knows who's going
Hmm.
to read this book. He
Yeah,
knows
yeah.
I'm going to just this is like totally from the air, but I'm going to guess that most people who read Stephen King are a lot of women. I think women read a lot of crime and thrillers and scary books. I think he has a decent amount of like male and female readers, but I would bet to guess a lot of people who read Stephen King are women. Am I wrong?
Maybe because he's so like you said, he's so not even descriptive. His imagery is like
Yeah.
100%, but at the same time not long winded. And I think women are more imaginative than men. So we enjoy it more because we can see the story and we can like
Yeah.
relate to the story even if we don't have anything to do with what's going on. That's true. I've heard a lot of criticism from men about Stephen King, like, oh, he's a hack and he just writes horror
Yeah.
dribble. And I'm like,
What
no.
is that?
Yeah.
I'll never understand that because if you've actually read his stuff, he is incredibly insightful.
Yeah.
He's incredibly, um, he's very not scared to write his point of view very prolifically. Like
Mm-hmm.
he writes as if no one's going to read, but it's thoughtful, it's thought out, it's smart. He does his research on the areas, on the people, on what they would say, what they wouldn't say. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't just write throwaway, young adult novels.
Mm-mm.
These are thought-provoking novels.
Yeah.
Which is why if men I think trash him, I don't know that they've actually read his stuff.
Or they're just not very thought provoking to those a kind of people. Like they're
Yeah.
very shallow type people. Cause I'm like, well, you
Yeah.
kind of have to be able to not define his books, but you don't even have to like tear his books apart to understand them. But you do have to have a sense of like imagination. You do
Oh
have to
yeah.
have a sense of like more than yourself.
Well,
I
and
hate
a
to say it,
lot
men are
if
the worst.
it's true, and actually no, I'm going to go with you on this. A lot of it is personal narrative. A lot of his books is what someone is only thinking.
Yeah.
For instance, Holly in the book, is this weirdo, transient, kind of interesting character.
Hmm.
And he manages to make you like her by giving you her inner thoughts, what she sees,
Hmm.
how she sees it, why she says the things that she says, why she does the things that she does. We love her because he gave us an insight to what she was thinking. And he actually wrote the female brain really well in this series because
Yeah.
she's kind of the main female. The wife is in there, but
No, but she's a side character. Holly's the main
yeah,
female character. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll bet you, Stephen King's wife, what's her name? Is her name Terry?
I think
No.
so.
Tammy?
No, T-
No.
uh, shoot,
It's T. It's something with the T.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Okay. Well, I bet you his wife helps him with the female voice. I'll bet you because she's a writer too. She's a writer
I didn't
too.
know that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Stephen King wife. What is her name? Tabitha. It was with the T.
Tabitha. There you go. I'll
Tabitha.
bet you
Tabitha.
she helps him, maybe
Yeah.
rereads his books and says, you know what? A woman wouldn't say it that way. She'd say it this way, you know?
Yes, because his description of Holly at first, you're like, what?
Yeah, she's
And
the
then
worst.
she's, yeah, because at first of all, let's go back to, we're really judgmental of female characters in books, men and female. We're harder on female characters than on males.
Well,
Okay.
because we're females as well. That's why.
Right. When I read her at first, I'm like, who is this lady?
Yeah, like I
And
don't
then
like you.
yeah, I don't like you. I'm not gonna like you. The premise is for us to not like her. And then she wins us over.
Yeah, she's
And
very off-putting at first.
very off putting.
And I know
And
it's because she has like a form of autism or she's like OCD or
yes,
whatever. So you're like trying
yes,
not to not like her because of that. Cause you're like, okay, she can't help it. But at the
yeah,
same time, you're also like, this really irritates me.
hmm, yeah.
But then as time goes on, you like her more. I'll say this though. I liked the book Holly. I don't like the TV Holly. I do not like her
Interesting.
at all.
Okay,
She
why?
remains
Why?
off-putting. Maybe because we can't hear her inner thoughts in the TV. You know what I mean?
Yes. Okay, for I disagree with you. And it
Okay.
may be because I'm biased to the lady that plays her. So Cynthia Erivo is a Broadway actress.
Oh, is she?
And
Okay. I don't know about Broadway.
she's from England. She's amazing.
Hmm.
And I actually thought she played her and gave her more character than the book did. I will agree with you that I think we missed some of the human aspect. Like she was very closed off and standoffish.
Yeah, she
But
was very robotic.
that's because in the book though, remember the detective says, or one of the characters says, that they realized that Holly was in love with her boss.
Yeah, Hodges. Yeah.
But in the series, she's not in love with Hodges. She's in love with that other guy.
But I don't think the other guy is even
And
in the book.
no, he's not. And I didn't find their chemistry at all, which didn't help her
No.
character.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah.
She was so
Yeah.
in the book we got to hear about, how she developed these feelings in her working with him and then he died or whatever in the book. But then in the show, she's just so stoic, so mean in a way, so hard-nosed, so hard-hearted. And then she falls in love with this random do-good country boy. Like, no, it was
Yeah.
very unbelievable. The chemistry was not there
Okay,
at
but
all.
this is a great topic because that's, I think, how they were trying to humanize her for the TV series,
Didn't work.
and it didn't work.
Yeah,
But
didn't work.
the actress who played her, I thought, did a very good job. She's kind of a weirdo. Like, she is off putting, and I don't think you want to like her at first.
Yeah.
I think they tried to make her in love with the guy so he would like her. It just didn't fall. It didn't land.
Mm-mm.
It didn't
It
land where I
land
wanted
right.
it to land.
Mm-mm.
Um,
No, it landed
but
right in the book, but not in the movie.
but honestly, she wasn't the character in the TV series that I hated.
Who did you
The
hate?
the wife, Terry's wife.
Oh my god, I hate what's her name? Marcy? I have it. Oh
I
my god, I
hated her.
hate
I
her.
did I didn't hate her in the book. I didn't like her in the book, but I hated her
Yeah.
in the series.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the actress or if it was the writing, but it just never, every time she came on the screen, I was like, I don't even want to watch your part. Like, this is so just,
Because she
I
was
just,
so unhelpful.
ugh.
Everything was it couldn't be him. Everything was, I don't care what you say. He wasn't there. Make this better. Okay, we cannot make this better without getting the proof. She didn't care about the proof. She
Yeah,
didn't care about anything like that. She just
yeah.
wanted it to be better. She wanted her husband
Oh,
to be exonerated.
yes. Also, it was like, are you even trying? Like, you just wanted it to be done. And she would
Yeah.
say, for the sake of my kids. You know what I want for the sake of my kids? To know the truth.
Yeah. And
And
even when she
she,
knew the truth, she didn't believe it.
yeah,
She still wanted her husband's name cleared. And it's like, okay, how are we going to clear his name by telling
yeah.
people El Cuco killed these people? It's not going to happen. You're not
No.
going to get closure in that way. You
Yeah.
need to just
And
accept
then
it.
in the very end of the series, almost like a last minute suggestion, she was like, I'm gonna get my justice and I'm gonna tell my story and I'm gonna get my money. And I was like, why weren't you this way from the beginning? Where were you this whole time? You were just like hiding in your house with your kids. And I get it.
Yeah.
I know in the book and in the series, people treated her awful. People turned on her so hardcore. That's the only reason I felt necessarily bad for her. But I guess I just like, where was your spine? Where was your
Yeah.
like, I need to get to the truth. How could this possibly be? I don't think she doubted Terry for a second. I don't think she doubted that it wasn't him. But why wouldn't you be out there pounding the pavement to prove it? Where were
Instead of
you?
browbeating other people to do your work for you, like,
Yeah.
get out there, find the truth, sue the hell
Yes.
out of this police department,
Yes.
move away.
And then
Nobody's going to know.
whenever her daughters were trying to tell her something, she wouldn't listen.
She wouldn't listen. She was like, no, it's just a shadow. Oh my God. Okay. Well, you deserve to
I
be
yeah.
manipulated then.
I don't remember disliking her in the book as much as I did in the series. That's what I'll say. I just did not like her in the series.
No, the series,
Um
I think because we saw the ugliness more in the, like you said, in
maybe.
the book, we get to hear her thoughts more. We get to know that, I mean, anybody in this situation would have been scrambled in their head, you know?
Yeah.
So of course they wouldn't be thinking right. You would be thinking all these thoughts. So you get to know her a little bit better in the book, but you did not see that in the movie.
Mm-mm.
It was just,
Mm-mm.
oh, she was she was the
Just
worst.
about just about every character from book to movie was pretty close. I actually
Yeah.
thought the actors were really well done. I really liked the guy that played the main detective. I really liked that Jason Bateman was Terry. I really liked
Yeah.
the detective's wife. I liked remember the detective's partner that was pregnant. Like,
Yeah.
it really felt very complete and concrete that these people were people before they ever came into the show. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
they weren't pretending to be these people. They were really clearly invested.
Yeah.
I think though, and we've talked about this before, a TV series versus a movie, right? A TV series allows us to develop with the character.
Mm-hmm.
We get to see them in all light, all dark, all different aspects, all different situations. Whereas a movie, you're kind of funneled into one way. I was glad that it was a TV series because I did
Yeah.
feel like we got to see it broader,
Spread
like
out. Yeah.
spread out, bigger ideas could be initiated as versus like just a 2 hour movie, which is going to cut some of that.
So much out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's why a lot of Stephen King's movies, they don't flop for me. I love every single movie. I don't care how cheesy it is, but they don't
even
really do very well
um
critically, especially the old 80s ones. But
yes.
it's because he, like I said, the imagery of his books, the detail, the thought process, everything,
Hmm.
it's so hard to bring onto the screen because all of his writing, you have to see it in your mind, I guess, is what you have to do.
Well,
So
it's just
to bring it out is
massive.
hard. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
it's
so much.
and also I could see, I don't, this is like totally just my conjecture, but I could see Stephen King being handed a screenplay and him being like, that's not it. That's you're not going to do that to my story.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. I wonder if he allowed this one because the TV series allowed for all of that detail. You didn't have to cut out all these things that wouldn't have made it to the editing floor in a
Yeah.
movie. I could see him being very like, "Mm, you don't see my vision.
Yeah.
That's did you read the book? Like, did you read my
Yeah.
book? Because that's not it." I could see him being like that because he's been rumored as being like kind of a stoic, kind of a funny guy too, where he's like, "No, that's just my point of view. Like it or
Like it
leave
or
it."
leave it. Yeah.
Hmm. But the book, I think, is I wouldn't have enjoyed this book at a younger age. I'll tell you that. I would have been so bored.
Oh yeah. You have to be an
You know what I'm
adult, I
saying?
think, too. Yeah, you have to be an adult
Yeah.
to really appreciate it.
That was the other thing I was gonna say. This is there's no like kids or teenagers or love interests or this is older people.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
now that you're mentioning like how his stuff flops, I I think it did well because it was a bunch of older people. So you didn't have all this nonsense. It was just older moms and dads and people who've raised their kids and people who are kind of set in their ways. Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
this
Sorry, I'm
this is
nodding,
not
but
no, you're good. This is like not for young adults. This is not like for teenagers. This is an adult, like this is a
yeah.
mature
Yeah.
thing. Like I
You've
would
had to
not
been like
suggest that.
married or in relationships, have had kids, or just been through a little bit of life to really appreciate this.
Yeah.
I also think a lot of his movies flop because, like we said, they just don't. They're not able to get the nuance of it on screen in 2.5 2 hours. Sometimes not
Yeah.
even 2 hours. Like you just got to shove all that in there, and it's
Right.
like this is
But
completely unreasonable and
right.
unbelievable.
Which is interesting because it has done so well, but
They did it in two parts though,
they did it in two parts
and they
and it
didn't
was a
do it like the
remake.
first one. Yeah, they
Yeah, I was
didn't
gonna
do it
say,
like the
and it was
first
a
one.
remake.
So
Yeah.
the first one left out um a lot of the gory stuff. I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, it was the cotton candy version
Yeah.
versus
The
the
second one
remake.
had like, yeah.
And also,
So,
does that have to do with the audience though? Because I think now we can stomach that better. Like you said, like we're kind of desensitized to like
yeah.
gore and like stuff like that.
Well,
So when it
well, the
came out the
first one
first
though was a
time,
TV movie.
yeah,
It came out on TV. The only thing okay, I think I love
which is even more
yeah.
like, softened out because we got grandmas and grandpas watching popcorn sitting on
Yeah.
their sofas watching it. That you couldn't have a kid being killed on the screen.
Yeah, you couldn't do a lot of that. So I think the
Yeah.
first one delved a lot in, or it took a lot of faith on people understanding the underlying themes of the book, because you
Hmm.
had to be able to dig through all of that, not having all of it in your face, all the gory in your face, all the awfulness in your face, because they didn't show that in the 80s or whenever that movie came out. So you had to go, oh, well, this meant that and this meant that. Whereas the new one,
Okay.
even though it was a two-parter, they showed a lot of the gore. They explained a lot of the themes to you through the
Mm-hmm.
gore so you can kind of understand it more. Because a lot of people go, oh, the first one sucks. It's not even scary and da da da. And it's not. I'm not gonna lie. It's not
No,
really scary. It's kind of tame. I love it because I love Tim Curry
but
and I grew up with it.
a lot of horror movies from that time were tame. I
Yeah.
mean, think about, oh gosh, one of my favorites is Poltergeist. But Poltergeist now is so corny. Like when
It's
I
so
watch
lame.
it,
Yeah.
it's so lame. But when I watched that as a kid, I pooped my pants. It was
Well,
scary for
and that's
us.
the thing, is that we've become so like goldfish in a bowl. Like we have to be like, hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. We have to be entertained.
Hello,
We
my
have,
ragtime gal.
because our attention spans are
I have
so
too much
short
caffeine.
now. Oh, I have a beer. It's
Mm.
fine.
Yes, 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 yes. Okay. And that's the other reason I was saying about the TV series. What I think why I think it did well is because you can go home from work and watch one episode. And then you can go home from work the next day and watch the next episode. And
Yeah.
so you had, which I love too. Like I like good movies. You and I are movie people for
Yeah.
forever. But sometimes I'm like, I'm like bored. Like I don't mean to be, and I'm not trying to
No.
be, and I try to make it through, but now I'm like 1 hour is good. And then I
Yeah.
need to like go and do some other stuff. And then I get to come back for the second episode and the
But I
third
think that
episode.
also has to do with we're adults now and we have responsibilities and we know that we need to get to bed by 9 because we got to be up by
Bro,
7 the next day. You
bro.
know,
I
like
barely made it. It was 8:26. I looked at Nathaniel. I was like, is it okay if I go to bed now? Like,
seriously.
I have to be up at 6 a.m. I get so dang tired.
It's not like my kids, they stay up till 3, 4 in the morning. Like I
Yeah.
can't do that with a movie. And I'm not saying
But
those movies make me do that, but
you're right. But you're absolutely right. Even the kids though, sitting through a 2-hour movie, unless I have been wanting to see this for years
yeah.
and I go to a movie theater,
Yeah.
I want to just watch at my own pace and in the
Yeah.
comfort of my own home. And I think he was smart to do it as a TV series. Because it's not, it's
Yeah,
also
and the thing is
not
it's
the
so
most
sad.
exciting story.
It's so sad that we have to do that. No.
Yeah.
No. It builds
It's,
slowly, so it allows for you to watch it slowly.
yeah, that's true. And I personally, I personally like that it was sort of that story. I'm just saying it is a slow burn, like an
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
extremely slow burn. And then all of a sudden at the very end,
Yeah.
they're in this cave. They've got the creature. And it's like now we've got exciting stuff going on. But the
Yeah,
rest
now
of the
you
time
get the gore.
it was just like people sitting around and kind of like talking and then I don't know. Like is he guilty or not? Like that's what everybody wants to know. Is he guilty or not?
Yeah.
But I think maybe that was Stephen King's that's what he did on purpose. He made you really
Well,
sit
they
back.
left out a lot of the side story from the book, like the little times when they would cut to the creature just sort of on his own doing like his own thing and like all the little offsets that Stephen King does where he just talks about one little aspect,
Right.
just one little thing, and they can't put that all in the movie, so that kind of makes it less scary, less interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas when you read the book, you're like, oh, I have all these other little facets of it. So you kind of are more, I mean, obviously the book is way more interesting to me. It's a slow read as well, but
Always. But
yeah,
I think every avid reader feels the same way because
yeah.
certain things speak to us and those things are left out and then we're like, "Oh, you didn't even
You didn't even put the
that
best part.
yeah, that was so important to me. Why didn't you put that in there?"
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think overall, so I actually because you and I were supposed to meet so forever ago, I ended up actually
Like 3
watching
years ago.
we've been adulting hard, okay? I am not going to apologize. You and I have switched jobs. We've had
Yes.
kids graduate. We've had
There's a lot going on.
okay? I actually watched this series for a second time.
Oh, did
And
you?
I sort of caught like little things here and there that I didn't really pay attention to the first time. So I do think it is something that I will watch again,
Yeah.
which is always a recommendation. If I won't watch something a second time, I won't recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
I won't not recommend the book, but if you're not an avid reader, you could maybe sit this one out and just watch the series.
Yeah, because the
But
series definitely lets you know what's going on. You
yeah,
definitely get the full story. You're not really missing anything from the series. You are missing a little bit from the book, but you can definitely get
Yeah.
a good watch out of this. It's a
What
good
did you
one.
think about what did you think about the characters from the TV series? Like, I
Versus
just
the book, or
just in general, like I actually really I was very pleasantly surprised with how the actors interpreted the characters
oh,
of
I
the
think it
book.
was very spot on.
Yeah.
I didn't think Holly was spot on. I think Holly was a
No.
little too off-putting, but I do think that all the other characters were just so spot on accurate,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
So I
What
enjoyed that. I like when they really encapsulate King's characters. It's always nice.
I want to look at just really fast.
And here's what I have to say about Holly. I think I need to read the other books that she's in just so that I can fully appreciate her characters, because even though I like the book Holly better, I still didn't like her that much. But
Yeah.
I think it's because I met her. She was in, let's see, Mr. Mercedes, Finders Keepers, and the actual book named Holly. She's in all these other books. I think I need to read more about her to appreciate her.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I didn't even make that connection. So, hang on. So, hang on. Let me hang on. You're like totally blowing my mind right now. So Holly, who's like this clairvoyant type of fruity autistic character, right? She's
Yeah.
just like kind of out there. She's in other
Yeah.
Stephen King novels.
Like
Okay,
we get
I'm
to read
taking
about her
notes.
in
I'm taking
Hodges. Yeah.
notes. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay,
Mhm.
so maybe we could read about her and other things and kind of build a friendship with her, is what you're saying?
Yeah, like I
Okay.
wanted to send you the book Holly because it literally just says Holly, and I thought,
Holly,
oh, how
yeah.
cool! I could send it to
How
you.
did I not know this? I think I
But then,
just was so like narrowed in on doing this that I didn't
yeah,
even
just
like,
on that. No,
yeah.
most people are but his books are very intertwined. Little subtle things here and there. You have to read a lot of
I
it,
know
but
that, but like you're
yeah.
telling me this character shows up in other
Oh
stories?
yeah, yeah. We learn more of her backstory in these other ones.
Okay.
I haven't read them, but I
Okay.
want to now so that I can actually get to know her and learn more.
Okay.
But
I
that's why I didn't send
wanna
you the book, because I was like, she needs to read
No, but
the other
I'm listen,
ones.
I'm going to the library tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to talk really fast about the detective, okay? So the
Mhm.
detective in the story and the detective in the TV series is played by Ben Mendelsohn. He's from Australia. I've only ever seen this guy in kind of smaller roles.
Yeah,
I haven't
very
seen him in
secondary
any
characters.
very secondary character, and I have to say, I loved him as the detective in this story.
Yeah.
I think he played a very unlikable character. I think he played a very um he was true to himself. He was true to what he really believed in, and he brought you along to like kind of how he really thought about things, but it was very subtly done.
Yeah.
And you disliked him enough to be angry with him, and that was okay
Hmm.
until he started to realize what was going on, and then he brought you in on the kind of inner monologue and all that stuff, and I thought that he played him really well.
Yeah.
I felt he was the truest character from the book to the series.
Yeah. You were definitely rooting for him by the time he started
Right?
figuring it out. Like at first you're like, God, this guy's a jerk. He can't even see what's
Gosh,
going on. And then you're
freaking
like,
dense ass hoe.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you're like, yes, you're getting closer. You're getting closer.
Yeah. And you
Oh
want him
shoot.
to win. Yeah.
What is his name in the movie? Did Ralph? His name's Ralph.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me see.
Ralph Anderson, right?
Ralph Anderson. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he plays the detective. Jason Bateman plays Terry, who's the guy that ends up getting killed.
Yeah.
I told you Cynthia Erivo plays Holly. So she's just a really cool. She's like a singer actually. That
Oh, I've never
she
seen her in anything else.
she's doing the remake of Wicked with Ariana Grande. She's the witch.
He is. No wonder I was seeing the trailer
Yep.
for that and I was like, why does she look so familiar? I want to see that
Yeah.
so bad. And I don't really
Yeah.
like movies like that, but that one I kind of want to see.
I but again, I only want to see it because she's the witch. Ariana Grande plays Glenda, but she
Oh,
plays the witch in Wicked.
oh, yeah,
And I've been wanting to. I'm excited for it to come out because I'm a singer, so I'm just like, yeah,
yeah.
all day, every day. But yeah, I fell in love with her before, and then I didn't realize she was in the series, so got to see her in the series. And now I'm excited for that.
God, she looks so
Um,
different in this series, and when I
yeah.
think of her as Elphaba, I'm like, God.
But what I love is there was every character in this, by the way, was 40 or older. Like there was
Yeah,
no
literally.
up and coming actress, there was no
Mm-mm.
hot, sexy actress to distract you. It was
Yeah, like
just,
May Winningham, like she is not so old, but she's very like Susie
yeah,
Homemaker type of look. She's like your
yes.
mom type of look. Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say is like, yes, the theme is about the kid getting killed,
Uh-huh.
but the main theme is about these people who have known each other their whole lives, who have grown up, they're grown-ups now,
Yeah.
and how they're navigating this very big thing that happened. And I just
Yeah.
find that I'm surprisingly drawn to these people. And maybe it's because we're getting older,
That looks and boobs and stuff
you know, like
don't matter.
when your nipples hang to your knees, maybe you just care about different things.
Well,
But
also it's like these are well-seasoned actors
yes,
and they're able to bring to life these characters and the words and the story and stuff. And I'm just so sick of actors that suck.
that's what I was trying to articulate. They brought the depth of the character. They
Yeah.
brought what can only happen when you've actually lived a very long life. Like
Yeah.
you and I, you know, we see things a certain way that 10 years ago we didn't see that way. And like
Mm-mm.
it just, as you develop as a person and as you age as a person, your priorities change and all this stuff, blah, 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 like
It's like, how can you
psychotherapy. But,
emulate a feeling that you've never had before? You
and
know?
I, I don't know, maybe some actors and actresses can, but not to this depth, not when
Mm-mm.
this kind of thing is on the line.
Yeah.
Um, Also, there was a little what do we call that? A little like popcorn, or what do they call that when they leave something?
Oh, egg.
Yeah,
What's it
Easter
called?
egg. So
Easter egg. There you go.
Jason Bateman was one of the producers,
Oh, was he?
right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I was just looking this up because I thought it was really interesting. Um, let's see.
And I'll tell you, Jason Bateman actually surprised me in this because I've only ever seen him in like funny stuff. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, really? They're gonna have him be Terry? Good God, I
Yep.
couldn't have been more wrong. He was
Okay.
so good.
So good. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yes, Jason Bateman was one of the producers on this. And in the book, they talk about the show The Ozarks,
Oh
which
yeah, and he's in
Jason
that. Yeah, I
Bateman was
noticed that.
in real life. And then Jason Bateman is in is a producer and stars in this show, which
Yeah.
and then they reference the Ozark. And I was like, that is the best Easter
Like,
egg.
yeah, it's
Like,
cool.
and so my thought was, I wonder if Stephen King came to Jason Bateman or if Jason Bateman came to Stephen King to say, hey, I'd like to produce this TV series. You wrote about the Ozarks in your book. I want to be a part of it because he was in the Ozarks at the time. I don't know, just a weird,
I'll
like
bet you
random
Jason
Easter
went to
egg.
Stephen King.
I think so
I feel
too.
like everybody
That's what I
approaches
thought too.
Stephen. I don't think he has to do any work to get his stuff done. I
I
think
think
he can just
Stephen
sit back.
King would never have to leave his chair.
Yeah.
He could have everything at his fingertips and he'd never have to leave.
Yeah.
But I actually get the feeling that he's very picky.
And I bet you he's also down to earth. I
Yeah.
have a feeling that he's like very cool, down to earth. I mean, he's in like, or he used to be at least, in a band and stuff.
And he has a son who writes. Were you telling me
Yes,
that?
Owen, right? His name's Owen.
Yeah.
Um,
And he's
and
also like a
Joe, and
novelist.
Joe.
Yeah. Oh, he's got two. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, the one
It's
that
so funny.
his son wrote The Black Phone.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we did talk about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that was his son.
Yeah, I know.
Which blows my mind. See, you always know that kind of stuff, and I'm like, how? What?
Because when I'm in the middle, I'm like we were talking about, like our attention spans are shit. So when I'm watching a movie, I'm on my phone. Like,
I
who's this
love it.
guy? Those people that people make fun of, like, who's this character? What were they in?
Oh
I
yeah.
have to do that because I need to
Rabbit
know.
hole.
Yeah.
Rabbit. I mean, so far down, we're like, we don't even see the light anymore. We might as well just
Yeah.
stay here.
Yeah.
I love
Uh,
that kind of stuff. But yeah, just kind of a, you know, interception of like book and
yeah.
movie and just all that stuff. Would you
So,
recommend the book and the series to someone?
yes, I always recommend Stephen King. I'm like,
I
always read
know.
it. All of
I
them.
know.
All of them.
You're such a stan. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
He's my
I
freebie. He's one of my freebies. I don't care that
Oh
he's
my gosh,
80 whatever years old.
we need to do a do Mary Kill over. We
Yeah.
haven't done one of those in a long time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do Stephen King, but I would marry Stephen King.
Oh, no, you know what? I would just want to be like good friends with him because I think he'd be a really cool conversationalist, just a cool guy to hang out with and not
That's
even have
true.
deep conversations, just hang
That's
out and
true.
go the record shopping or, to like a bookstore or coffee shop. Like he would just be like a cool
Yeah.
dude that like hang out with.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's what I think.
Agreed. All right. Any other thoughts on The
Well, I want to know who
Outsider?
your favorite character was really quick. Who was your
Uh
favorite character?
so this is gonna be so cliche, but it was Detective. It was Detective Ralph.
Really?
And I'll tell you why. I I am such a I'm such a fixer as a person. So if I see an injustice, I want to fix it.
Mm,
And this is why I tell you at first I hated his guts because from my morality, I was like, "Can't you see? How do you not see?" But then, the older I've gotten, I've realized how incredibly faulted as a person I am. Because when you're young, you're like, "Pfft, I don't,
my
whatever."
opinion
Like,
is the only one that matters. I'm
right.
always right. Yeah,
The
exactly.
older I've gotten, I've realized I've done things with blinders on too that
Yeah.
have been not good for me. And when I had that little inkling that I could have just shoved down and shoved down and shoved down and I let it out, good things happen. And I don't know, I guess I resonate with Ralph because I do think deep down he is incredibly moral. He tries to really justify everything by being at least
Yeah.
moral. I think the problem is he's dealt with so many scumbags in his career that he gets a little like
He's jaded.
everybody's a
Yeah.
scumbag. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I've done the same thing. I've done
Yeah.
the exact same thing. So he wasn't my main character at first. He wasn't my favorite at first. And then I don't know. I just, like you said, I rooted for him and I was like, no, Ralph, he went through it. He had to figure it out. He had to do what he had to do because once he got there, he was on fire to get it to the other side and to
Yeah.
make it right and to find out what happened and to do it for Terry's wife and the girls and like he got a fire lit under him he couldn't stop
Yeah.
and I just resonate with that. So
Mm-hmm.
so he's my favorite, yeah. And I wanted to like hug him at the end.
Yeah, because you knew he was going to be messed up for a while
Yeah.
from it.
What about
Like he was
you?
going to be messed up.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's going to carry that burden. He's going to carry Terry's murder for the
Probably
rest of his
forever. Yeah.
it is 100% partly his fault. So,
Yeah. There's nothing you can do about it.
choices and consequences.
I think it's such a random character, but I think I liked Alec Pele, the private detective that got killed in the end.
That's really messed up. Why him?
You know what it was? He was just like a sellsword. Like whoever hired him, he was going to go find out the facts for them. He had no opinion. He didn't think yes or no. He was just very neutral. He was just like,
Oh.
these are the facts and this is where we need to go. And you're not going to sway me.
I
And you're
like
not going to do
it.
that. Like, I can see the truth. He was sort of like the person that's like, this is the truth. Look at this. This is what I found. I found the truth.
Yeah.
So, and then when he got killed, I was like, oh, man.
Okay,
But
but actually now that you're explaining it, that is who you are.
yeah.
You're like, I want to be involved from a distance.
Yeah.
I I really don't want to get really wet. I'll just put my
No.
toes in it. Like I'm here to
Uh-huh.
help, but I really can't take on the emotional burden of what you're
Mm-mm.
asking me to take on. Whereas
No,
I'm like I'm a like head first.
yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need I need to do it at my own pace. I need to just kind of stay
Mhm.
neutral to everything until I know all the facts. And then I can choose a side because, like,
Yeah.
that's why I don't consider myself a Democrat or Republican because I have Democratic
Me
beliefs and I have
neither.
Republican beliefs. And I'm just like, I'm neither because
Yeah. But
I
also,
don't know everything.
I think you're very empathic too. And I think what's happened
Yeah.
to you over the years is you've been betrayed by carrying everybody else's feelings. So
Yeah.
now you're like, oh, hang on. Hang on. I gotta put me first. I gotta take care of me. I want to help you, but I really have to help you in the way that I can help you. I can't help you
Yeah.
in the way you want me to help you
You want me
because
to. Hmm.
if I feel like I'm being manipulated, I'm out. That's who
Oh,
I
yeah,
think you've become. Like
for
you've
sure.
you've had a lot of things happen to you to where you're like, listen, I
Yeah. I
can
don't
be
trust
involved
nobody.
10%, but I
Yeah.
can't be involved 100% like I used to be
It's like,
anymore.
no, because I don't trust nobody. And Alec
Yeah.
didn't trust anybody. I don't even think
Yeah.
he trusted Howie Gold, the lawyer that he was working
No.
for.
No.
He was just like, no, I'm going to do this for you because you're paying me,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to give you information that you
Yeah.
want just because you want it. I'm going to give you the truth.
But also that's emotional intelligence too. That's what I'm trying to say. Like
Yeah.
you you earned your emotional intelligence by already having people manipulate you. So
Yeah.
you're not going to do that again. That's very,
Yeah.
very intelligent. I
Yeah.
think I think Ralph in some aspects is the same way. I don't think Ralph trusts anybody. I don't think
Mm-mm.
Ralph has a trust. He almost doesn't trust himself,
Yeah.
which is
He's
maybe why
very, yeah.
he's just I think he just hit this weird crossroad of like this is something that is making me think about things that I've never thought about before
Mm-mm.
and I'm unsteady. So I'm going to hold on to this really really tight even though deep down I'm having second thoughts about it. I don't
Yeah.
want to come across as a weak person. Girl, that's me all day
Yeah.
every day. I want to
Yeah.
pretend like I know exactly what's going on so that you think I'm smart or you think I'm capable or you think I'm in charge and you can just take a back seat.
See, I don't really care what people think about me. Like, you can think I'm weak, you can think I'm
Yeah.
stupid, whatever you want to think. I don't care. As long as I'm okay with me, as
Yeah.
long as I'm comfortable in
I
what's going on,
know.
that's all that
I love
matters.
that. I
Yeah.
envy that for you. That's something I'm over the past few years been trying to develop. I've come a very long way. And
Oh,
there's a lot of things about me that I don't care what people think about, but there's a lot that I used to. There's a lot that I was like, I really wanted this to look a certain way. And now I'm like, like it or leave it, baby. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah.
I
You
don't
got
know
to
what to
just
tell
roll with
you.
the punches.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
I've
I know
let,
I've tried my hardest, but
yeah.
it came out this way. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, okay, let's move on.
Okay, but also, I think the reason Ralph is that way sometimes, though, is I do think Ralph feels like he's carrying the emotional burden of the community. So he is kind of acting in a way that's like a little bit protective of everyone else. And
Maybe because
so,
they look at him as their protector.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
And as a leader, you have to make such difficult decisions, and they did look to him to be a leader, and they
Yeah.
did look to him to solve the case, and I think he really wanted to. And then Terry got shot and everything went to hell.
Yeah.
So, I loved it. I loved
I
the
know did
book.
too. Read the
I
book,
loved the
watch the
series. I
movie,
thought it was
show,
so good.
TV show. Yeah, watch it all. Do it all. It's
I'm
a good
glad
one.
we got to sit down and talk about it. I
I
miss
know,
you.
10 years later.
Yeah.